Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Watch Darius TV. I'm back with another review, and this one is of P Valley, Season 2, Episode 1. If you like this video, you know what I'm saying, like, comment, subscribe, share the video. You already know what it is. Yo, this show, has been a while since this show been on. Because of COVID, it took a year off. We didn't see it, just like the TV show The Boys. We ain't seen it in a while. COVID kind of just threw a lot of stuff out of whack, so last time we saw the show was 2020, during the pandemic, and I had a feeling that this new season was going to, of course, be about how the pandemic has affected the stripping business and all other stuff. So the intro starts with this father. He's in a hotel party with his kids and his baby mother or his wife, and he ends up leaving to basically go to the main strip club place of the where the show takes place at. He doesn't know if he wants to go to church or he wants to go to the strip club. He's at a crossroads and he doesn't seem to know. Of course, he picks the strip club to go to. The strip club, there's this new thing that they have at the P Valley Strip Club. It's called the car wash that they got going on. It's an interesting idea, to have a car wash at a strip club. I thought that was pretty interesting to do that. And then we see Uncle Clifford. He makes his intro, and of course, the guy decides to try to hurry up and drive off, but the dude ends up staying and stuff like that, and he ends up basically coming to see Mercedes. Mercedes ends up doing her dances and stuff like that, and he ends up also doing something else on his dashboard a little bit. We don't really want to get into that, but yeah, it was a pretty strong intro to this new season, I would say. I'm happy the show is back. Most of the strippers are wearing masks, so that's pretty interesting. The first season was released, like I said, during the pandemic. That's when all the strip clubs were closed. Not that, I would know anything about that. Um, Mercedes has shoulder issues. Seemed like that could also affect her career. So that's pretty interesting to throw that in. She already was planning on retiring last season, and now she ends up having a shoulder issue. So that's pretty interesting to see how that's going to affect her career, in dancing. Like I said, the music on the show was still good. One of the best soundtracks I've heard on a TV show in a while. I love the music in the background. Last season, I found out a lot of songs that I loved that they played in the background, and this season they got even better songs. I love it. Mercedes feels the need to get more money. She feels that she should be making more. She seems like she might leave, even though technically she was supposed to retire last season, but now she feels like, hey, I need to get up out of here. I'm not making as much money. One stripper disses her over her last dance. When she was talking earlier in this episode, one stripper brought up the fact that she had a last dance she was going to do last season, but her mom kind of interfered with that. So that kind of was like a low blow for her. Mercedes probably feels mostly like maybe it's time for her to get up out of the stripping business. Different things are happening that's kind of preventing her from doing it. She had the issues with her mom last season, and now she got shoulder issues. So it seemed like this season she's going to be tested a lot. I like that one quote by that one stripper called Jupiter, where she says, "I don't even know who my baby daddy is." That was crazy. That was a really a little bit of dark humor going on there for her to say something like that. And like I said, yeah, COVID did. I did have a feeling that COVID was going to affect the stripping business and all this stuff like that. Also, they end up making a reference to the mayor dying. Man, I didn't think he was going to die. That really kind of caught me off guard. He died off scene. Sometimes maybe the actor had other something else he was trying to get into or whatever like that. Maybe had a different show, but he ended up dying off screen. Who would have thought? He was such a major character in the first season. For him to just die off screen and we just hear that him dying in the first episode on the news was a bit shocking. I wasn't expecting that, but you know, well, it does feel also a bit realistic because most people, who have passed away from COVID, we hear about it on the news. So, that was pretty shocking. Andrew's wife is completely covering herself from COVID. She is like completely disinfecting her clothes when she comes back home. He seems to be unemployed, and they are just quarantining. So that's pretty much totally bringing back the flashbacks of 2020 when everything was going on during that time. It was crazy. We all know we've been through that. The wife is a doctor. Andrew's wife is a doctor, and is she's very cautious. You know, just like how most people were when COVID happened. If some of this stuff feels really delayed, because all the stuff people were going through back in 2020, now 2022, people are walking around without masks on because I guess they feel the vaccine is, you know, if they take the vaccine, it's gonna be okay. So nowadays in 2020, people are just going around without masks on, doing whatever. People aren't as crazy and as cautious as they were back in 2020. So most of this feels a little dated now because people ain't even acting like this no more. Andrew wants to go see someone. He wants to go see the mayor that passed away, and of course his wife is completely scared of that. You know, so yeah, that's how that is. So I'm not gonna lie. Some of these characters I don't remember that well. Some of their names and some of their storylines I don't remember because it's been 2 years. So some of these characters are kind of I had to do a little bit of research on because I don't remember. You know, we ain't seen this show in 2 years, so Little Murder, he makes a really fire beat in the kitchen. I like that scene. He still has some complicated relationship with Cliff, you know, being in the closet and stuff like that. But you know, he's back to making music. His music is pretty dope too. Some fans asked Little Murder, will he have any more music coming out? And one of the guys looks like the snitch from. Oh yeah, the scene where Little Murder he's outside and some fans roll by to ask him about some new music. This might be a possible foreshadow that maybe he might have some issues this season. He might possibly die this season because you know he is a gangster rapper. But one of the guys in a car ended up asking him, you know, about some new music, and he looked like the dude from Queen and Slim that you know ratted them out to the police. But something tells me these guys in the car definitely might be some future villains, some type of enemies he might have to deal with later on in this season, possibly. I got a feeling he might end up possibly dying this season, Little Murder. But yeah, pretty much ironic with his name, Little Murder. He might end up possibly getting murdered. Autumn wants some new girls, you know, after Krishan and another girl named Gidget or whatever her name is left. So she's looking for some new girls, and of course Mercedes is totally against that. Krishan is still with her abusive boyfriend from the first season. She's doing better than him, so he might be jealous of her. You know, kind of similar to like a Ike and Tina Turner thing going on there, where he's jealous of her success. I also got a feeling she possibly might end up dying this season too. It always ends up doing that in every TV show where there's a character that's really nice and sweet. They always end up possibly being the one that ends up dying, the one that's like the heart of the show. You know, so I get a feeling that he might end up possibly killing her. I hope not, but I get a feeling that possibly might happen. Um, the lockdown even stops Mercedes, the little cheerleading team that she has. The lockdown even stops them, so even the little girls aren't able to, you know, cheerlead and do all that stuff that them little girls do or whatever. They remodeled the room from season one. I forgot the name, the glowing room that they had the shootout in at the end of last season. But there's still a blood stain to be seen, so that's pretty weird. It sort of shows that most likely the events that happen at the end of the final season probably going to still come up in this season. So it's not all completely just you know washed away, no pun intended. So Andrew and Autumn reunite, and they have a scene where they're talking. Some of the dialogue in the show sometimes sounds a little weird. Sometimes it kind of sounds like a little bit of a cheap soap opera from like the '70s or something like that. You know, and then Autumn has a line where she says, "Funerals aren't for the dead; they're for the living." I don't know about how I felt about that line. I was okay, I guess. Some of the dialogue I'm not that huge of a fan of, but it's still a good show though. I like the writing. I'll give them that. You know, and the music I said is really dope, and the women on the show are stunning. So it evens itself out, I guess. There's a store that is on the show because it's literally called the Stowe. I thought that was interesting. I never really heard of anything like that before. I guess it might be popular down south. I never heard of a store called the Stowe. That was okay. Diamond is now working security at a grocery store. He's still mad at Krishan for pulling a gun at him when he was defending her against her boyfriend. Most likely, I get a feeling they might possibly still mess around, Krishan and Diamond. They make it seem like that, but their relationship is still complicated. But most likely, I feel like they might still hook back up. Diamond is treating the grocery store. Yeah, and now you know he's basically now working outside of a grocery store. He's not a bouncer at a strip club anymore. He's now, I guess you could say, a bouncer in front of a grocery store, pushing people away, whoever don't wear a mask on, throwing them off and stuff like that. You know, you can take him out of the strip club. You can't take the Well, you know what I mean. You can't take the bouncer out the strip club. You get what I mean. He basically can't stop being a bouncer. Even when he's playing security, he's still got to be a bouncer, I guess. You know what I'm talking about. Um, then there's a scene at the funeral. And I don't mean to be mean, but it seemed like they all dress in green. I guess that's the theme of the the color theme of the funeral. They all look like some green beings. I don't know why. That I don't know what. Something about them all dressing up like green just really didn't sit right with me. They all look like a bunch of green beings standing out there. I don't know. I wasn't really feeling that look, but I get it. It's a funeral. Usually in funeral you wear all black, but you know. The new mayor, Kyle, isn't very well received. He seems a little shady, seems to have a bit of a shady past to him. So he might possibly be a new sort of antagonist this season, it seems like. I don't know how Krishan was able to fit into the baby crib when she had that scene where she's talking to her baby. I didn't really feel like that seemed a bit real. I feel like if she would have stepped in that thing in real life, she would have, broke apart. But anyway, something small. But she shares a story of little girls, the story about some little girl and her hair and stuff like that. I'm guessing that might have possibly been a reference to her own childhood, maybe. We might get more in depth look into her upbringing, maybe, how she became a stripper, all the other stuff like that. Kyle really wants to work with Andrew, so he seems like these two might possibly be working together this season. And like I said, Kyle, I don't know, he seems a little shady. We might see he might be a little bit of a new threat this season. So we're going to see what happens with him. Autumn and Mercedes are watching What's Love Got to Do with It, and then they argue over hiring more girls. Like I said, Mercedes, she definitely is not into hiring new girls and stuff like that. Also, I found that them watching What's Love Got to Do with It had probably been a reference to Krishan and her crazy abusive boyfriend. Maybe it could have been a reference to that. Maybe she might fight back against him. Maybe that's what that could have been a metaphor for. And then at the end of this episode, we end up seeing that Krishan and Little Murder are going to go on tour. So that's interesting. Those two working together. They already kind of had more of a sort of a teammate type of relationship working together in season one. So now they're going to continue and now they're going to go on tour this time. I don't know how Krishan's boyfriend is going to handle that. I don't think he might like that at all. He's really abusive and stuff like that. And then Little Murder, I don't know how that's going to affect his relationship with Clifford. They definitely still got some issues they got to resolve. But this is a pretty good intro episode to this new season. I probably should have really rewatched season one. I was supposed to even do a review of the season one. I'm still going to do a review of that just to simply talk about it, just my thoughts on the first season. We already been saw it, but I was supposed to have been done it 2 years ago, but I completely dropped the ball on that one. But like I said, I'm happy the show is back. I thought this episode was pretty good. The newest episode comes on today, so I'm going to do a review on that. That's going to be dropped later on today. And yeah, this was a really good episode. I like it. Starting off the new season pretty strong, bringing all the characters back. We're going to see how COVID affected, the show and stuff like that, the characters. So it's pretty interesting. And yeah, it was a pretty good episode. If you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe, all of the stuff like that. And I got more content coming to Watch Darius TV. So thanks, everybody.